parents came to Australia from Lebanon to get away from the war that was happening at the time. And they came here to restart their life.
As a migrant, when I first arrived at Australia, I struggled. It was very difficult.
They wanted to give us everything they never had. That was their plan from the beginning, so my parents sacrificed a lot for us.
For decades, Lebanese families come to Australia to build a better life and escape the destruction of war. But many are demonised in their new land.
And they call me your Lebanese bastard.
Get rid of this multiculturalism, because that is only dividing us also as a nation.
Then, after 15 years of immigration from Lebanon, Anglo and Arab Australia is divided by the First Gulf War.
They're being confronted with a choice between being either Arab or Australian. Because up to now, the multicultural story is you're both.
Are you Arab first or Australian first?
I already answered this question. I'm an Australian citizen. My loyalty is to Australia, and I shouldn't be asked about this.
I'm trying my hardest here to be accepted as an Australian. I can't do anything about the black hair, about this skin. It's the way I was born.
In the 1990s, a tiny criminal minority become drug-dealing gangsters defying the law.
These gangs will be wiped out.
In 2001, terrorism raises fears that Arab Australians are an enemy within.
I'm looked upon as a terrorist or as a rapist, you know what I mean?
5 years later, anti-Arab tension explodes into one of the most infamous race riots in Australian history.
It's not just a few Middle Eastern bastards at the weekend, it's thousands.
We have been in a pressure cooker effect for 30 years.
The people converged on Cronulla Beach.
Get the hell out!
What happened on that Sunday in Cronulla is a black eye for our country.
This is a story about who we are.
Am I Lebanese? Am I Australian? What am I? I don't know.
I am Australian, I am Lebanese, I am Muslim, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a child. I am all that in one.
It's the story of what it's like to be Lebanese and call Australia home.
We are Australian, and this is our homeland, and this is where we belong, and this is what we are part of.
I think it is a common perception, and I think there have been studies that suggest that there is a negative perception about Muslims in society, and that's something that we have to work on as a collective. I don't think it's the sole responsibility of Muslims in Australia or non-Muslims. The easiest way for that to change is for your friends to actually get to know some Muslims and speak to them as human people, and move away from, McDonald's journalism and that sort of thing, and taking their reports from certain newspapers and certain shows. And when that happens and they actually speak to their Muslim neighbour over the fence or the Muslim guy that works in the milk bar and realise, actually, you're just normal people like us. We need to keep in mind, Muslims are not the first people to be seen like this. It's actually happened in waves. If we take Australia as the example, for a while it was this cultural community that was, demonised, the Italians, the Greeks, then it was the Vietnamese. Oh my gosh, they're all in a drug triad and they're all out to kill us and all those sort of things. It's just the Muslims' turn now. It's a pity that as Australians we haven't learned that, once we get to know each other, it's okay, and then we move on to the next group that we're worried about. I hope that it would finish with Muslims. It's just, I think if we can have some human interaction, a lot of those fears and misconceptions can change.